Yes, the matter we came for today is the action that was filed by Mr. Sowore against the SSS and X, that is formerly Twitter, on the correspondence, the official correspondence of the SSS to Twitter to deactivate Mr. Sowore's account on the post he made criticizing President Tinubu on the ground that it was illegal. That was the position. The SSS believed it was illegal, that it violated Nigerian laws. So in respect of their own position, it is not just, to us, it is not just like you have problem with a post, you flag it, no. It's the position of the government that you insulted the president. It violated certain laws, which is even justified in the fact that they now file a criminal charge to say that it violated Cybercrime Act and all that and all that. But they have communicated to Twitter then to bring down the post and deactivate the account. And we saw the danger coming. Even before they file their charge, we had to come before the court to file actions. And the most important aspect of it was then to restrain this organization from taking any step. Because sometimes when matters happen like this and we have passed that stage, we may not know the significance. If we didn't take this step then, who knows what they would have done? But we have been in court with them. So it was even the response from Twitter that actually brought us this far. We were so much in a haste. Because that matter was very important. It was about the fact that an individual is using a private platform to make speech, to address people, to also organize. And Mr. Sowore, being who he is, his political followers are his family, association, his expression, is a speech to the people. So if a digital platform has presented his platform with him to say, look, you can use this to do all of this, and the government of the country now say that, look, that is speech, do this. We are saying, that is our position, that look, this is beyond merely reporting a post. Because Twitter is operating in Nigeria. Nigeria belongs to the Nigerian government and the people. So if Nigerian government, as a government represented by SSS, has communicated to Meta, to Twitter, we saw that beyond mere flagging. And we are saying you don't have the right to do that. And particularly because the person that was affected, according to them, did not complain. Even till now, even with their criminal charge, he has not said that nothing happened. So if he didn't say that, as an individual who is supposed to be wronged by that post, and it is SSS, official agency of government, with a statutory designation of powers, is the one saying that, look, Meta, Twitter, you are operating in this country, you must put on that post. We are seeing it. We are seeing state prayer. We are not seeing an evil playing ground. No, we are seeing state prayer dictate, duress to say take this action. And it's a businessman. Twitter is a businessman. Meta is a businessman. Sowore is a citizen. Say no, look, you cannot do that. In the course of protecting my right, I'm also protecting this platform. I'm also protecting thousands of Nigerian citizens who will be in my shoe tomorrow. So, but unfortunately, the Twitter filed counter affidavit. Today they said they are withdrawing it. They are bringing in a fresh one with a lot of documents, about 4, which they just had. I've not even seen the hard copy. So that is why we took it. I felt we could go a bit further, but the court insisted we must come back on the 18th. So that is the position. But then I must also tell you that the sister case before this court, is giving us an insight into our position in this matter. It's giving us an insight. We are not seeing, we are seeing the matter beyond a contract. But that has been the position. Before the next day to review our position, we don't know whether the position we are going to take, I don't want to preempt the court, I don't want to preempt ourselves, and I don't also want to preempt the media. But before the next date, we might take a different position entirely to streamline our position, to make it You know, it's a battle for the country, the citizens, to see whether once you subscribe to Meta, to Twitter, you are not safe, because it's a contract and there's a big brother somewhere that can influence your partner in this contract to say take this route. Whether the constitution is helpless, it's a very big picture. So we are coming to that.
As the lawyer has said, for us in the movement and within our legal team, this is a digital rights issue. It's not only a struggle against the Nigerian government, it's also a struggle against these multinational social media companies to ensure that they do not become our new colonial masters who will come and dictate to us what to say and what not to say. And we're already seeing that. Even with AI, if you ask AI today to help you edit something against the government, AI will be telling you that what you are saying is not confirmed, something that you know. So there's already a conspiracy against free speech in collusion with multinational companies, known as social media companies. But Nigeria is coming from a history of this kind of collusion. It was the same thing that led to the death of Ken Saro-Wiwa in this country. Shell, Chevron, and the rest of them collaborated with Nigerian military and Nigerian police to kill people. And when Ken Saro-Wiwa rose up against them, they connived with Nigerian government to kill him. That is what Twitter, Facebook, and several of these social media companies are doing. They have a back end with the Nigerian government and several other repressive regimes. They also have a back end. Today, before I came here, there was a discussion on Al Jazeera that Facebook is helping the state of Israel to take down pages of Palestinians who are campaigning against illegal settlers. And they are monetizing the pages of the Israeli settlers who are carrying out repression. Facebook, for instance, demonetized me a long time ago because they didn't like what I was saying. They allow the government and their people and some non-state actors to suppress you by making sure that your account cannot go live for beyond a period of time. That's the kind of thing that we are against, and this is what we want to use the case to prove. Apart from physically preventing the DSS from acting as a busybody in suppressing our fundamental rights, digital rights, fundamental rights to association, because political parties these days, several of them don't even have physical offices anymore. We use these platforms to campaign, to mobilize, to organize against the government. And we are seeing that Facebook is in unholy alliance with the federal government. There was a situation in which Facebook engaged in data breach. Federal government asked them to pay 32 million naira, dollars. The money has disappeared. Some people said they didn't pay. Some people said they paid the lawyers and the lawyers did not pay the federal government. But what we found out was that because of my case, the federal government went into an alliance with Facebook to forgive the debt or the fine, because they need Facebook to be on their side. I'm not the only target. Several of you have suffered relentlessly in the hands of Facebook as they curtail your right to freely speak about your country. Whether they like it or not, we are helping them to make money. There are 40 million Nigerians who log on to Facebook on a daily basis. That is more people that have ever voted in an election in this country. So Facebook has no right to be using us to make money and at the same time, restricting our rights to freely express ourselves. And also don't forget that even free expression now has become commercial. A lot of new millionaires in Nigeria are Facebook-based people. So if Facebook is making money, the people in Nigeria also have a right to be using their free expressions to make. The content creators are using free expression to make money. And we have seen that some of them, when Facebook don't like you, they don't allow people to see your posts. YouTube is also involved in that. So it's a broader struggle for digital rights. And it's not limited to Nigeria. It's a global war or a struggle that we must wage. That these multinational social media companies are in alliance with oppressive and fascist regimes around the world to suppress free speech, freedom of association, and by extension, freedom of movement. Because some of them are also supplying information relating to opponents of the government to the government behind our back. In the case of Twitter, don't forget that Twitter once allowed its platform to be banned in this country. And when they came back, they had an alliance with the Buhari regime to take down some accounts that are controversial. So overall, this is part of our own political struggle to expand our democratic space. And those democratic space is not something we will allow Facebook. People don't know our special circumstances to be determining how we cry out when the government is beating us down. So that is why we are in court. And we will take it from here to the Supreme Court if necessary, if the judges don't rule on this matter, because we also understand that for some of the judges, they are limited in their understanding of digital rights because the Constitution did not anticipate their own Constitution. That's why I'm always calling for a new Constitution. Because the Nigerian Constitution that was made in 1999 did not anticipate Facebook. It didn't anticipate Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. It's a limit because it was designed by people with tunnel vision. The former military guys who only know how to beat up people. So that's the exact constitution that they gave to Nigeria. And it was not even endorsed by Nigerian people. Not at all. So it's the military enforced constitution. That constitution is illegitimate. We cry all the time that we feel sad that after struggling for democracy, we have to come and be answering to a constitution that we did not participate in. Every constitution has a preamble. We the people. Who was there when they made the 1999 constitution? It was the biggest, that's the biggest, the most fraudulent constitution in the world. Fraud. And all these old people who like it, they won't complain about it. And that's why we say, when we take over power in this country, which is going to happen very soon, the first casualty on our list is the Nigerian constitution, 1999 constitution. We will tear it apart and ask the people to make a constitution that we dwell and realize their current position on their realities. It would encompass all kinds of freedoms that was never anticipated before. The freedom to work and not to work if you can't be paid. The freedom to work from home. The freedom to school at home. The freedom to go to a school that doesn't even offer a certificate. All those freedoms will be encompassed. And I know some of you are confused because I'm always ahead of most of you that the future is going to be defined by, the future of knowledge will not be defined within the confines of a classroom.
It is my candid opinion that the world has now moved beyond the traditional means of media. I hold very strongly that the right to access social media now, the right to access Facebook, Twitter, and other social media handles are necessarily concomitant to the right of Nigerians to enjoy the rights to freedom of expression, the right to freedom of association, and the right to express their grievances as they should under the laws in Nigeria. The right of access to the press can never be complete in a modern democracy without access to social media. And the right of Nigerians to be informed, which is the constitutional right that the Constitution has imbued on the press, can never be complete without a free and unfettered access to the social media. Nigerians have the right to know. The media has the duty to impart, and no impartation can be complete in a social setting and in an advanced society without access to the social media and to the press. And the biggest platforms in the world today are those of the online digital platforms. The biggest reach today, people now associate more freely, people now align more freely, people now organize in the world through access, unfettered access to social media. As a matter of fact, the world has now moved now away from asking people to serve processes by pasting on the notice board, by now ordering that individuals be served through their social media handles. We have situations where we've been served court processes ordered by the court through Twitter, through Facebook, and another social media platform. We need activist judges, judges that see beyond the analog age of doing things, that can now embrace modernity by seeing that Nigerians can never enjoy their right, which the Constitution has bestowed, if we continue to gag and to limit the scope and the enjoyment of the right of Nigerians guaranteed by the Constitution by inhibiting this right to social media spaces. And we've had judges in the past in this country that have looked at this thing beyond the box scope, if we can call it that. At the time in this country, activists and senior lawyers were having their passports seized at the airport because they were traveling outside the country to engage in matters that the DSS and the government were not comfortable with. One clear example was the case of Joke Ajayi. Another in point was the case of a very senior activist, Olisa Agbakoba. You know, the DSS had argued in court in those cases that the right of Nigerians to freely move does not include the right to passports, to the international passport. And the court said, no. How can a man enjoy the right of ingress and egress from Nigeria when you seize their passport and they do not have the right to access their passport to make these travels? So the concomitant rights also inures through the access to phones. The fastest way to pass communication in this country today, the fastest way to organize in this country today is through access to the social media. So the court must also embrace this new modernity and in ensuring the right of Nigerians under Chapter 4 of the Constitution, broaden the scope of the right of Nigerians by ensuring that the government and their repressive agents are not allowed to deny Nigerians the right of access to social media and to other digital spaces. This is quite very important, and we must not relent in asking that this right be enforced, that this right be upheld, and that this right must be respected by all persons in Nigeria. At all times.
And I should add also that social media has also enhanced access to justice.
Of course.
Yes. A lot of cases these days are online. Even cases that have already been decided by judges are resolved online on appeal.
Of fundamental human rights is not an issue that we have to take lightly, because if we go to certain countries today, the human rights and speech rights that we have are being controlled by the government, and those countries are countries that till today nobody is comfortable to go to those countries, because once you go to those countries you are cut off completely from the entire world. This is exactly what the Nigerian government is attempting to do.
Yes.
They are attempting to gag the mouth of everyone and to control whatsoever that you are going to speak. Whether you say it digitally or you come on media like this to say it, they want to have a state-controlled speech where everybody, and I repeat, everybody will no longer have right of privacy and right to freedom of expression. And it is on this note that this case is of paramount interest, because the judiciary have the power now to ensure that the government do not in any way infringe on the fundamental human right of each and every citizen of this country. It is a systematic strategy that is being applied and deployed by the state of Nigeria. And at this point, it is very, very crucial that everybody rises up and protests against such a state-controlled media platform, because it is going to not only is it going to infringe on our human rights, but it's going to take all of us into a post-colonial slavery. Yeah. We are all going to become slaves of the federal government without even knowing it. Just like Electoral Act was passed and a lot of Nigerians were blind as to the innovations that were smuggled in. That is the same way this is about happening. Because the moment they have any way now, as the plaintiff has said, the applicant has said, that there's already a back-end arrangement and there's already a marriage and alliance between this platform and the federal government. So in a way, it is very, very important that the court rises up to the occasion, and just like our old past judges, has secured the democracy of this country, has also secured the fundamental human rights as mentioned in Chapter 4, it is very, very important for all of us to rise up and ensure that this country is not just turned to a one-party system that we are seeing now, but also we also resist the attempt by the government to ensure that they control the media space.
All right.